The sound of laughter filled the diner, loud, cruel, and sharp. Everyone turned to look. Lena stood frozen beside table 7, her hands trembling as a tall man in a fancy suit flicked a glass of water right into her face. The cold liquid splashed across her cheeks and dripped down her apron. The man's friends howled with laughter. "Oops," he said with a smirk, his voice dripping with fake innocence. "Guess the help needs some cooling off." The whole diner went silent except for the sizzling of bacon on the grill. Lena's throat tightened. She could feel her face burning red as the group of rich customers kept mocking her. "Didn't they teach you how to carry a tray, sweetheart?" Another woman sneered, snapping a picture of Lena with her phone. "This will look great online." Lena's lips quivered, but she bit them together. She couldn't cry. Not in front of them. Not again. She picked up the broken glass pieces from the floor, hands shaking. A small cut on her palm began to bleed, but she said nothing. The laughter grew louder, crueler. And then the door swung open. The bell above it jingled. Everyone turned. The laughter stopped. A deep, calm voice spoke from the doorway. "What exactly is going on here?" The owner of the diner, Mr. Harper, a man who rarely left his office upstairs, stood there with his arms crossed, his sharp blue eyes locked on the scene. The bullies froze in their seats. Lena looked up, wide-eyed, water dripping from her hair. Mr. Harper's gaze swept over the mess, the spilled drink, the trembling waitress. Then his eyes settled on the smug man still holding the empty glass. His voice was quiet but dangerous. "Would you like to explain why my waitress is standing there soaking wet?" The man's smile faltered. Lena's heart pounded. She didn't know if she was in trouble or if someone had finally stepped in to defend her. For a few long seconds, no one said a word. You could hear the hum of the refrigerator and the faint buzz of the ceiling lights. The man in the suit gave a nervous laugh. "It was just a joke," he said, brushing imaginary dust off his sleeve. "She tripped and spilled some water on me, so I splashed her back. That's all." Mr. Harper didn't move. His expression stayed calm, but his jaw tightened. "Is that true, Lena?" he asked softly. Lena's lips parted. She wanted to speak, but her voice felt trapped in her throat. Her mind flashed back to the laughter, the phones recording her, the cold splash of water on her skin. She shook her head slowly. "No, sir. He threw it on me, on purpose." A few customers at nearby tables nodded in agreement. Someone whispered, "Yeah, we saw it." The man's smirk faded. "They're lying," he snapped. "You don't believe her overpaying customers, do you?" That was when Mr. Harper stepped closer. His shoes echoed on the tile. "I believe what I see," he said evenly. "And right now, I see a waitress doing her job and a group of adults behaving like spoiled children." The woman with the phone lowered it quickly, hiding it under the table. "We were just having fun," she muttered. Mr. Harper turned to Lena. "Go clean up, sweetheart. I'll handle this." Lena hesitated. "Sir, it's fine. I can—" "Now," he said gently, but firmly. As she walked toward the back, her hands still shaking, she could hear the man's angry voice rising behind her. "You can't talk to us like that. Do you know who I am?" Mr. Harper's calm voice cut through the noise like a knife. "I don't care who you are. In my diner, everyone is treated with respect." Then there was the sound of a chair scraping, and the man's voice, sharp and furious. "You'll regret that." Lena froze near the kitchen door. Something in his tone made her chest tighten, and then came a crash. Glass shattered. Someone gasped. Lena spun around her heart, leaping into her throat. The crash echoed through the diner like thunder. Lena turned, eyes wide, and saw the man in the suit standing beside the counter. A plate lay shattered on the floor, pieces of glass glittering around his expensive shoes. His face was red with anger. Mr. Harper didn't flinch. He stood calm and still, hands behind his back. "I'll ask you once more," he said, his voice low. "Leave my diner." But the man laughed, his voice dripping with arrogance. You think you can throw me out? I could buy this whole place and fire you all in a second. The other customers had stopped eating. Some were whispering. Others had pulled out their phones, recording the scene. The woman with the phone tugged on the man's sleeve. Mark, let's just go. This isn't worth it. But Mark wasn't listening. He grabbed the ketchup bottle and slammed it on the counter, spilling red sauce everywhere. You think you can humiliate me in front of everyone? He shouted. I'll make sure no one ever eats here again. Lena, still near the kitchen door, felt a lump form in her throat. She wanted to disappear, but she couldn't look away. Mr. Harper finally stepped forward, his calm mask cracking just a little. You're making that promise easy, he said quietly. Then he pointed to the door. Get out. Mark sneered. Or what? Before anyone could react, the man took a step forward and suddenly slipped on the ketchup he had just spilled. His foot shot out from under him, and he crashed backward onto the floor with a loud smack. The whole diner gasped. The mighty Mark now sat covered in ketchup, stunned and humiliated. Mr. Harper sighed. That's what, he said simply. Lena covered her mouth, torn between fear and disbelief. She knew this wasn't over. The way Mark glared up from the floor with eyes burning with rage made her stomach twist. He wiped his face and whispered through clenched teeth, You're going to regret this, both of you. And then he pulled out his phone and started dialing. Mr. Harper's expression darkened. Who are you calling? Mark smirked. You'll find out soon enough. Mark's finger jabbed at the phone screen as he glared up from the floor. The diner had gone silent again, every eye fixed on him. You'll wish you never messed with me, he hissed, his voice shaking with fury. My uncle owns the biggest restaurant chain in the city. You'll be shut down by tonight. Mr. Harper didn't move. He just folded his arms and said calmly, Then maybe your uncle should teach you some manners first. A murmur rippled through the customers. Some of them chuckled quietly, but others looked worried. Mark stood up, his clothes smeared with ketchup, trying to brush himself off with a napkin. You think this is funny? He barked, his voice echoing through the diner. When my uncle hears about this, he'll ruin you. You'll be begging me to forgive you. Lena peeked from behind the counter. Her heart was racing. She wanted to run away, but something inside her told her to stay. She needed to see what happened next. Mr. Harper glanced at her, then turned back to Mark. Go ahead, he said softly. Call him. Mark's smirk widened. He pressed the phone to his ear. Hey, Uncle Frank? Yeah, it's me. I'm at this dump called Harper's Diner. The owner and his waitress humiliated me in front of everyone. Yeah, her too. I want them fired and this place shut down. There was a pause. Then Mark frowned. What do you mean, you know this place? Mr. Harper's eyebrow lifted slightly. The room buzzed with tension. Mark's expression changed from smug to confused. Wait, what? He held the phone away from his ear for a second, blinking. He's what? Mr. Harper stepped closer, his tone still calm but with a spark of amusement. Who are you talking to, Mark? Mark swallowed hard, color draining from his face. He says he knows you, he stammered. He says you used to be his boss. The entire diner gasped. Lena's eyes went wide. His boss? She whispered. Mr. Harper smiled faintly. That's right, he said. Frank worked for me before he started his chain. Mark's phone slipped from his hand, clattering to the floor. And then, the phone still on speaker crackled with a voice that made everyone freeze. Mark, said the voice, calm and sharp. Apologize, right now. Mark's mouth fell open. What? Apologize to Mr. Harper, his uncle's voice thundered. Or you'll be the one out of a job. Lena's heart pounded. This was the moment she'd been waiting for. But as Mark turned toward her, something in his expression changed, something dark and desperate. He wasn't done yet. Mark stood frozen, his face pale and slick with sweat. The phone was still on the floor. his uncle's voice echoing from the speaker for everyone to hear. "Did you hear me, Mark?" Frank's voice boomed. "You're going to apologize to Mr. Harper and that waitress right now, or you're finished. Understand?" The whole diner had gone completely silent. Forks hovered in midair. Even the cook peeked from the kitchen door. Mark's jaw tightened. For a second, it looked like he was about to argue, but then he saw the way everyone was staring at him, recording, whispering. He had no power left. His shoulders slumped. Slowly, he bent down to pick up the phone. "Yes, Uncle," he muttered weakly. Mr. Harper didn't say a word. He just watched, arms folded, waiting. Mark turned toward Lena. His voice cracked. I'm sorry," he said, the words sounding like they hurt to say. Lena blinked, unsure if she'd heard him right. "What?" "I said I'm sorry," he snapped, then caught himself and lowered his voice. "I shouldn't have thrown the water. I went too far." The woman who had filmed everything tried to shrink into her seat, hiding her phone. Lena didn't speak for a long moment. Her eyes glistened, not with tears of sadness this time, but with relief. "Okay," she said softly. Apology accepted. Mr. Harper stepped forward. "Now," he said, his voice calm but firm, "you're going to leave. And if you ever treat another worker like that again, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly who you are and what you did here." Mark looked like he wanted to explode, but instead, he just nodded and walked toward the door, head down. The bell jingled as he left, his fancy shoes squeaking on the floor, still sticky with ketchup. The door shut behind him. For a few seconds, no one moved. Then, clap, it started with one person, then another. And soon, the entire diner burst into applause. Lena turned bright red, covering her face as everyone cheered for her. Mr. Harper smiled proudly. "You did nothing wrong, Lena. Never let anyone make you feel small for doing your job." Lena nodded, a tear slipping down her cheek. "Thank you, sir." He patted her shoulder gently. "Now go take 5 minutes off. On the house." She laughed quietly for the first time that day, and as she walked to the back, the sunlight caught the diner window just right, making the ketchup-stained floor shine like it was sparkling clean again. But as the applause faded and Mr. Harper turned to return to his office, he didn't see the black car parked outside. Mark was inside it, staring at the diner through the glass, gripping his phone tightly. And this time, he wasn't calling his uncle.